we need to evaluate your last task, miniature street installation. Most of you have been quite a lot of work. Let's have a look through some of the things you've been doing. A lot of research, finding out how others do it, photographs around school, understanding composition in photography, and of course planning your own work. Now you should have at least 6 before and after shots. From these, of course, you'll have picked your favourite. These are some wonderful pictures. We won't give out his name, but there it is, Mr. Black. And it's up to you to decide which is your favourite. I love this one. And you can do more than 6. Here's Dom's 6 of his best. And here's his favourite. What a cracker. As it's the final artwork, we'll just tickle it up a little bit. Number 1, let's fill the space. Click and drag. And number 2, using the pen tool, the outline. Put a little outline, little frame around it. Well, that's a lovely picture. Well planned, well executed, funny, interesting, and I can't wait to print it off and put it in the art show next year. But of course, in this particular course, you have to evaluate your work. I'm going to give you a run through of how that works. Let's have a look at what you've been asked to do. Evaluate how you, as the artist, and other artists, have been influenced by artworks from different cultures, times and places. You can click this link for the vocab. If you click on there, of course, it'll take you to this sheet. The elements of design and the principles of composition, things you've studied since year 7. There are 5 questions to answer. Question 1. How have artists, in this case, miniature street art installation artists, how have artists' use of proportion and scale influenced your own artwork? Well, let's have a look at proportion and scale. In the principles of composition, proportion and scale is here. Proportion refers to the comparative or harmonious relationship of one part to another in respect to size or quantity. Scale refers to a ratio, again proportion, used in determining the dimensional relationship between images or objects. In this photograph of a sculpture, we can see the use of proportion and scale. The helicopters look small in comparison to the large figures, but we know proportionally they're correct because they're higher up and therefore further away and smaller. Let's look at Mr. Black's use of proportion and scale. In this final picture, proportion and scale has been demonstrated by not an oversized cricket ball, but tiny figures. Now we know they're tiny proportionally in comparison because of the use of scale. We can see the wickets here, and we can see, of course, the giant ball. Having the long grass helps us. And what a wonderful game of cricket as the ball comes towards the batsman. The fielders gather in close. He probably can't hit it very far. In the evaluation, Dom might write something along the lines of the use of proportion and scale is to emphasize the size of the cricket ball against the size of the cricketman to help tell the story. Question 2, how have these artists' use of other principles of composition influenced your own artwork? Well, let's have a look. Lots to choose from. We can talk about the use of space, balance, emphasis and focal point, repetition and variation, perhaps even movement and rhythm. We might look at emphasis and focal point. Emphasis refers to the forcefulness that gives importance or dominance to some features or features of an artwork. Focal point refers to the portion of an artwork's composition on which interest or attention centers. Well, let's have a look at emphasis and focal point in this particular picture. Well, lots of places to look. We're going to look at the cricket ball. It's being emphasized. It's giant. It's in the middle. It's red against the green, reflected here against the red stumps. And of course, all the men are looking towards the batsman and the cricket ball as well. It perhaps is the focal point, even this green section pointing our view all the way down. Question 3. How would the effect on the audience be different if miniature street art installations were life-size? If you were to come across this scene and these men were life-size, what would the difference be? Question 4. A new set of questions now. If these artists took influence from movies, what scene from a movie might they recreate? Think of a favourite movie and think of a scene from the movie that these artists could recreate with their miniature street art installations. For me, I might have the movie Jaws, and particularly the scene in Jaws when the shark comes onto the back of the boat. I think they would look marvellous. Question 5. Where and how might they create their installation? I would love to see that in my old school canteen when I was a kid. Perhaps in the thick brown gravy, which was disgusting. The shark could be coming out and landing on the tiny boat. These questions help us understand value, how you can evaluate, as the artist and other artists, the influence of artworks. Please use this link for your vocabulary. Question 1, 2 and 3 is about the effect of the composition and where we look. Question 4 is about how other artists may be influenced. What would happen if an artist were to recreate a scene from a movie? It shouldn't take too long, and there are spaces to fill.